Hey, hi, hello, welcome to episode 114 of Trail Society, brought to you by Rabbit. I'm Corinne Malcolm,
And I'm Keely Henninger.
and it's just the two of us today. Unfortunately, Hilly is a little under the weather. Sure, her head hurts, she's got a bad migraine, so it's just the two of us hanging out and catching up. Before we hit record, I said, I finally think I know what time zone I'm in. I got back from Cape Town on Friday afternoon. We're recording Sunday afternoon, evening. And while I'm like readjusting to where I am in time and space, I'm wondering, Keely, how, the Thanksgiving holiday was for you. Did you get a little break from medical school and studying, or has it just been kind of full on?
Mm, Thanksgiving break's been lovely. We don't really get a break, but we had Thursday, Friday off from classes, so like we weren't learning any new content, which is nice. And so yeah, I took Thursday fully off. I was like, I deserve one day where I don't look at my computer, I don't do any studying. And that was really nice. I'd been looking forward to it for the last like 3 weeks because I hadn't really taken a day off of any studying for a while. And so that was lovely. And we did a little turkey trot with the family. And then we hosted like a huge Thanksgiving at our house, which was super fun. But then otherwise, I've been back to like kind of studying. I'm taking step in January, like a little bit earlier than most people are with the study time they give us. So I've kind of started doing a good amount of like review from past terms now. So I don't get that many off days anymore, but that's okay. It's like, you can hustle and do anything for 2 months, totally fine. And then because I'm doing it a little early, we're going to be able to go on our honeymoon. So that's exciting. So we're going to go to Costa Rica like end of January through February before my next class kind of starts mid-February.
That's so exciting.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you for making the push on steps so that you do get that time because otherwise it's a little bit fleeting.
Totally. Yeah. And then, yeah, I just signed up for states like 2 days ago because the deadline was coming up tomorrow.
I saw the post. I was like, Keely's
Yeah.
taking the F9
And
bib.
also because I just kind of got my schedule for 2026 and I have like a 2 week class in February, a 2 week rotation in family medicine in March. And aside from those two things, I don't have anything until May. So I'm just doing
Are you like in like
research.
a research block?
hmm
Heck
So
yeah.
like I have such a chill schedule, and then my May rotation is just family medicine as well. So like I feel like for all the ones that matter for good training, I'm gonna have such a chiller life than last year. So I was like, okay, if I end up wanting to do it, I need to sign up because this is like way better case scenario than last year.
Yeah, you actually have kind of a good runway for it.
hmm
For those who kind of are unfamiliar with medical school, it's kind of not a lottery, but it's a little bit of like an unknown as far as like what your clinical rotation schedule will
hmm
be. And that can really dictate like, is it very front loaded? Is it a little bit more spread out? When is your research block going to be? And so you seem to have scored a good one if you want to race Western
Yep.
states.
Exactly. Yeah. So I figured might as well sign up because if you don't sign up, you can't do it, or you have to go requalify again. And I no business. No, no thanks. I've done
No
those.
golden ticket hunting this spring for Keely. That's totally fair.
Yeah. But you didn't have Thanksgiving in the States. Did you do anything to celebrate in Cape Town?
I had a lovely beach day. So we flew home on Thanksgiving, but not until like 9:30 p.m. Because if you're
Mm.
flying back to the US or even like Europe for the most part, you fly out late in the evening. So it was just super chill. It was like our last day in Cape Town. We did a bunch of wine tasting stuff like Mo Sunday, Monday, Tuesday post race, and then we like went to the beach and just like chilled out on the beach Thursday morning. Basically anything we did all day, we'd be like, Happy Thanksgiving, like let's go. We went, like had brunch, Happy Thanksgiving, and then we met up with Tony McCann and Nora Saris for coffee and walking around downtown, and that was awesome. And so it
Fun.
was a very chill, very non-traditional Thanksgiving day, and I was texting my mom and my brothers and Steven on a big group text about kind of Thanksgivings. My mom's in South America right now, so she was also having a very non-traditional Thanksgiving. And Tommy and my sister-in-law go in, made like a mashed potato mountain with like dino nuggets in it for Thanksgiving. Steven, I think, went to a diner with his sister. I was like, I had airplane food for Thanksgiving. So maybe less than ideal, but it's like 25 hours of travel, and I did make
hmm
it back. And then I had a Friendsgiving with a number of local Seattle folks
Nice.
yesterday afternoon, and that was very pleasant.
Okay, good. So you still got to like celebrate a little bit, which is
I
good.
got
Best
pumpkin
of both
pie, so I
worlds.
feel
Nice.
I feel like my Thanksgiving is complete.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Your Thanksgiving like Zen is back, like your cheese back in order.
Yeah, yeah, my Thanksgiving chakras are all realigned.
Oh, that's so fun. I can't wait to hear about the race.
Yeah, I guess one thing before we dive in is that Thanksgiving is always a time too where I think we start thinking ahead to the holidays in general. And maybe that's like starting to think about what we're getting our loved ones. And I think it's a great time to actually maybe plug some of the running stuff we've been loving from Rabbit. And I'm wondering if there's
Mhm.
anything. I actually have a drop of gear coming. I'm really excited, including a lot of like very comfy, cozy items of clothing. We're talking like the easy joggers and
Hmm.
the off track like t-shirt and some like really warm, luxurious loungewear effectively. I'm wondering what you've been loving, what you might be gifting this holiday.
Mm-hmm. So there's this new mock long sleeve that's like a light pink. And I've gotten like all of my training buddies to go get it. It's called the Outrun mock neck. It's like a light, like wool, like kind of very like light layer, but it's a little warmer than like a top you'd wear in the summer or spring. But it has like this really low, like mock neck. It's so cute. It has thumb holes. It's like a light pink. So I've been loving that, and I've gotten a lot of my friends to get it as well,
I
which
think
is
I got
super fun.
the sales color, like the lavender color, I think is coming
Oh,
in my
nice.
drop
That
of gear.
color is great too. So
Yeah.
good job there. And then there's like, I think I said this last time, but I've been really loving them because I run a lot in the dark. But there's a deflector series they started, and it's like pretty bright, and you can see the tights from so far away. So like that's really cool.
Sweet. Like a little bit of that reflective material. Awesome.
Exactly.
So I guess people want to stuff some stockings, get something for their loved ones under the Christmas tree coming up in December, which is rapidly approaching. You can go over to runningrabbit.com and use a new code for the month of December that is Hoppy Holidays. All one word, Hoppy, Hoppy Holidays, HOLIDAYS for 10% off anything over at Rabbit.
They are really good with their holiday cheer. Their
The
little,
puns are
yeah,
good.
their codes are so fun.
Yeah, whoever's making our codes are doing is doing just a top-notch job all year. I wanted to give some shout outs to some other racing that happened outside of the race that I did in Cape Town, and that includes JFK 50 mile. Like no records this year. I don't know if you were following along. I did. I was like refreshing results, but Hans Troyer and Jade Belsberg taking the double win for Ultra felt like a pretty big statement.
Totally. Yeah, really solid running and both running really quite fast times
Yeah.
also.
Like top 10 fastest times ever. I
Hmm.
think Hans was definitely under course record pace for a while before ultimately falling off. And the women's was like a battle between
Hmm.
Jade Belsberg, who's had a banger season, just like
Hmm.
has had such a good year of running, kind of everything from like VKs to 50-mile
Hmm.
races.
Totally.
Um, but a battle with Shea Aquilano and Hannah
Hmm.
Allgood
Hmm.
flexing her speed. Um, that was a really cool podium, and I want to say like I don't remember where Shea was in the overall from like a top 10 times ever, but I know like Hannah, who's third, hers was the seventh fastest JFK ever.
Hmm. Yeah, and like they were all like second and third were what, a couple minutes between each other. And then they were all together like when they got on the towpath. And I wonder how long they were all together for. Like that's really cool. But yeah, it seemed like they were all pretty close. Like Jade still ran what, 6 hours, 7 minutes or something,
Yeah,
so
like
fast.
just over. Like
Yeah,
that's a
they're all
fast
still
50.
running so fast. And like the 50K split for the tow pass were all really quite quick, especially for Jade and for Shay. And it was just really cool to see them
Yeah.
all duking it out. Like I love that they got a good showing at that race for the women.
Yeah, and I want to say like Hans Troyer's marathon split was like a 220 something.
What?
In
That's
it,
so
yeah. So
fast.
it's like, yeah, it was like 226 or 227, like his marathon split during
Wow.
it.
That's
So,
crazy.
but like again, bonkers. Stephen Kirsch, I think, was third, and it was like for the men's side, and it was like he PR'd by 9 minutes and finished a place worse than the last time he ran JFK. And I was like, that's impressive. So big shout outs to the folks running JFK every year, that kind of combo of AT to towpath,
Hmm.
making the shoe change or not making the shoe change, whatever that looks
Yep.
like.
Totally.
Yeah, very, very
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, don't do what I did. Like I had a friend do my shoe change, but I never like practiced it once and they didn't like loosen them much. So I just like jam my foot in and like can't get it in and like mess up their finger and just like it's like a total dumpster fire. Yeah, don't do that. So
Yeah,
change
you
your
got to
shoes,
get
but practice.
some triathlon laces in those super shoes, for
Yeah,
sure,
totally.
if you're doing it right. And then I wanted to give a shout out to the UTCT 100K. It's kind of like the preeminent race at UTCT every year, from like the outside, for
Mm-hmm.
sure. I think Stu's love is really in the miler. There's a lot of love for the folks that take on and finish the miler, but in the 100K, it's the end of the World Trail Majors series.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of final points are established there. It's the win there is still worth the same as a win at any other race. Just happens to be the last race of the calendar year for that series. So
Mm.
it's like when the overall is decided, potentially, if someone gets a second win there, for example, it kind of helps secure or lock up what those overall standings are. I don't think the men's race was impacted by that at all. But Sunmaya, for
Oh
example,
yeah.
she
Mm-hmm.
locked down the World Trail Majors overall title, winning
Mm-hmm.
12,000 euro in the
Right.
process. So
Which is crazy. So
for like
cool.
a Nepalese runner too, like that's
Yeah.
amazing. Her
Really
sister,
cool.
Run Maya Buddha, was also there running the 55K,
Oh, cool.
and I think she ended up placing in the. I don't know if she. Yeah, I don't know that she won the short title for World Trail Majors or not, but she definitely was like placed on the podium for it and
Mm.
won money as well. But
Hmm.
on the men's side, crazy battle between Jeff McGavro and Dmitry Mitiev.
Mm.
Like, and then Matt Healy, actually a local South African runner.
Hmm.
Like the three of them were together a bunch of the day. It sounds like Jeff was leading for a long time and then maybe went off course. It's unclear if he went off course or had like a bobble.
Hmm.
And so then Demo was leading. And they hit Dead Man's Tree, which you'll be familiar with. It's like you do the blockhouse climb, you
Hmm.
descend down to the road, you run the road, and then you turn at that tree, and there's a timing mat at the tree to
Mm.
turn onto the dirt road.
Hmm.
And then it's like it's like almost 2 miles from there to the finish.
Okay. Yeah.
And so there's a timing mat at Dead Man's Tree, and the
Mm.
three of them were within like 90 seconds of each other,
Whoa.
with Dima leading.
Dang.
And
Hmm.
then Jeff makes the pass,
Whoa.
and he ends up winning by 30 seconds. And then I want to say Matt Healy was like 5 minutes back from them at the end, but like excellent battle,
Wow.
super exciting, super
Hmm.
tight racing. Like Jeff finishes, like runs to the banner and just like fully like basically belly flops, just like falls down and is
They're
like
just hammering.
laying on his stomach like on the ground for a full minute, and then Dima finishes and they like get up and are hugging. Um, so really cool. On the women's side, Sunmaya just destroys everyone, wins by over an hour,
Oh, wow.
like
Yeah.
wins by like 65, 66 minutes. Um, like total domination in that regard, backing up her second place at Worlds in Confranc this
Hmm.
fall behind Katie Scheid.
Yeah,
So
she's had a
Sunmaya
great year.
has had a good year. If we can keep her healthy,
Yeah.
she runs so darn well. But the thing is
Mm.
that she just like she gets really injured, and that's kind of what takes her out of the circuit for a time being. But excited to see her have a really great fall, commanding fall, and then wanted to give a shout out to the American women who raced for the
Hmm.
100K, going 3-4-5. Tara Fraga finishing third, kind of coming off a season of injury. She had a calf injury and corresponding bone stress injury, that took her out of Western states, for example. And she's just been slowly building her way back to fitness and to health. And for her to be there and finish third felt like a really big deal. Running the 100K distance in particular, Alyssa Clark finished fourth, and then Sarah Humble, who is a Salt Lake City gal, I want to
Oh,
say,
nice.
was running in like third much of the day. Ultimately ended up finishing fifth, but yeah, 3-4-5 for a
Nice.
stellar women's like American showing in the
Hmm.
field. So that was super cool.
Yeah, that's really cool to see. I love when we have a good US presence over there because that race is hard.
It's super hard. It's
Hmm.
really hard. It's
Because a
so
lot of
cool.
locals normally do really well at that race. So it's cool
Yeah.
that we threw down a bit.
Yeah, it was hot. It was all the things that UTCT oftentimes is, and it was, yeah, just very spectacular racing
Hmm.
all around. Such a cool event from a 16K all the way up to the 100 miler. Like they have so many races for so
Hmm.
many different things over Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So if you haven't gone, put it on your bucket list. There's a race distance for everyone. It's a really cool trip. Um, Quad Dipsea. Got to give a shout out to Quad Dipsea that happened over the weekend. Historic race out of Mill Valley. running from Mill Valley to Stinson Beach, back to
Hmm.
Mill Valley twice.
Have you
Um,
done it?
I have not. I've never
Okay.
done any of the Dipsies,
Okay. It's
actually.
so on my list. Like if we end up going there for residency or something, like
Yeah.
somehow I'm in
Oh,
the Bay, I
you
need to do
have
it.
to. You
It looks
have to.
so fun. I want to race against like the 7-year-old girls and the 65-year-old.
Well, this is a little bit different, right? In the
Oh,
sense
that's
that
true. Quad
like
Dipsea's more of a race. Yeah,
quad
yeah.
is but it still brings out people do it year after year after year.
Uh-huh.
People have like a 10-year finishing jacket and a 20-year
So
finishing jacket.
cool.
Like people do it year after year after year, including actually the gal who finished second, which I think is
Mm,
interesting. So, the big deal there is that Nick Handel and Megan Roach both set course records. And
mm,
what I saw today made me cry a little bit because the men's course record has been held by Alex Varner
mm,
for forever. And
mm,
it was like 341 or something. Um, and Alex knows that course better than anyone. Grew up there,
mm,
has the records on the single Dipsea for such a long time. He knows that trail like nobody else, except for maybe Nick Handel, who has
mm,
been trying to break this course record for years. And just not quite
mm,
getting it. Has won it a
mm,
bunch, but has like missed the course record. And so he's the first person to ever go under 3 hours and 40 minutes. He took like 90 seconds off of Varner's time. And there's
mm.
these great photos of like Varner at the finish with Nick, like excited for Nick to have done the
Oh,
thing.
uh-huh.
So that feels very, very special. Like Varner lives on the Dipsy
Yeah.
stairs, basically.
Yep.
Like now he like literally lives on the Dipsy stairs.
Hmm.
Um, Megan, I think, has wanted to do this race for a very long time. I think she's been signed up for it in the past, but it hasn't worked out due to life, injury, med school, PhD
Hmm.
work, whatever. Hasn't been able to race it. Finally gets on the start line. Obviously, she's coming back from, you know, a heart condition, an autoimmune condition, having two babies.
Hmm.
Um, hasn't raced a whole lot over the last, let's call it 4 years in a big way. Um, Ran, obviously, Run Rabbit Run 50 mile earlier this fall, which we talked about, but she gets the course record. The course record for the women's race was set in 2010 by Karen Spoor. And there have been women who have
Mm,
gotten close, gotten within 3 minutes, gotten within 2 minutes, but no one has gotten the record until this
mm,
year,
hmm.
where Megan, I want to say, took like 3 minutes off of it. Um, which is just like it's really cool. It's like it's
Hmm.
been a long time in the making for many people. But what's also really cool was that the woman who is second, her name's Sophia Stevens, and I want to say she's got to be a Bay Area person, or at least originally maybe from the Bay, because she has run this race year after year after year after year. If you look at her ultra sign up, she's like 32, but she's run this race a ton,
Hmm.
and just has like progressively gotten a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better.
Hmm.
Like I want to say she PR'd by like 15 minutes this year
Whoa.
and was like only 5 minutes behind Megan.
Nice. Dang. So also really close to the course record.
Yeah,
That's
like also
cool.
really close. So just like
Hmm.
it was just really cool to see. Nick had a little bit a larger margin of victory. Jacob Banto was second, finishing about like 15, 16 minutes behind him.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, just really cool, like grassroots, old school racing in Marin that probably is under the radar for lots of people, but the quad is super sick. And
Hmm.
that made me really excited to see those course records finally get, not obliterated, but like finally got broken this year.
Yeah, totally. It's so cool.
Yeah. I think that's my race recap, my news, my highlights. Those are the things that I really wanted to give a shout out to before we dive into my own UTCT experience.
Yeah, I know. I'm excited to hear about it. I know you've been to UTCT before, and like so have I. Cape Town's so special. I totally get going back, but what made you want to go back this year?
Yeah, this is my third time to Cape Town.
Hmm.
I went in 2022. I think I was supposed to race the 100K that year, but was dealing with injury. And so I told Stu like, "Hey, I can't race." And he was like, "Well, why don't you come and why don't you come? We'll pay for you to come do the live commentary for it." So I flew in that year, did live commentary, was like, "This place is so crazy cool. Like I have to come back. I have to do this race." Signed up for 2023, was actually supposed to do the 100 miler that year, but I'd already run a 100 mile that year and was like, there's no way I'm gonna be able to run another 100. My body's just too tired. So I was like, hey, Stu, can I do the 100K? He let me do the 100K. Got my taste of it. Thought it was really cool. Had a hard day, but had a good, just like full value day out there. And I was like, okay, this place is really, really special. I have to see what the Deep South
Mm.
holds, which is like the part of the 100 mile course where you just like head off into the nothing of this like kind of little peninsula off of Cape Town. And I was like, I really want to get that experience. And I want to do it at Cape Town. For me, it was also an opportunity to get a potential Hard Rock qualifier
Mm,
was the goal. It's basically the earliest 2027 qualifier you can do because it's too late for this upcoming year's lottery, but it's good for the
mm.
next 2 years lotteries, basically. And so I was like, that's great. It's like checking the bucket, like making that thing happen. And so when I got sick at UTMB and wasn't going to be able to race the local race I had hoped to do this fall, Steven and I like looked at the calendar and looked at like what I could do before, the end of the calendar year, basically. And
Mhm.
this one really fit in the schedule, which is crazy to be like, that was the easiest, most convenient thing for me to do. And
Mhm.
so, yeah, pulled together some friends and made the huck down to Cape Town. And it's just like once you're there, it's awesome. It is a lot of travel to get there, but once you get there, renting accommodations is pretty cheap and affordable. The food is amazing. The community is amazing. And so if you can make a trip out of it with people, I mean, Ryan Montgomery's been there for like 3 or 4 weeks at this point, just like living his best life. So it's like
I
you
know.
can do it. There's great wine, there's great food, there's great people. You can go on safari. There's all sorts of stuff that you can do. So if you can make it a trip, I think it's well worth like being down there for 2 weeks, basically.
Totally. And like obviously if you go that early, you can look at the trails and run some of the trails. You didn't really need to go that early, like you've done the race before. You kind of knew what you were getting into a little bit, at least.
Hmm.
But it looked like you got some really good training like here in the Pacific Northwest. Obviously, we have so many good trails, but I know you like self-proclaim yourself as the slowest professional runner on Strava, but like you were throwing down some pretty high volume for yourself. So like why don't you walk us through some of the training? Like did you change up anything? Like how did that all go?
Yeah, this kind of late, or I guess end of summer, early fall, I was like, okay, I need to like make some changes. Steven and I had a conversation basically where he is like finally about to graduate residency and like have a real kid job, which is very exciting. I've been investing in this for a long time, in which it's like I've worked 3 or 4 jobs for forever, um, so that we can survive San Francisco and Seattle. So we're looking at like some big life changes in which he's going to make actual money and like my salary matters so much less all of a sudden. So just like kind of thinking about like what I wanted to reinvest in myself, and he was also very encouraging in that, being like, this is an opportunity for you to reinvest in your running and reinvest in like really putting training together in a way where it's not on the back burner for you constantly. And so I reached out to Cliff Pittman at CTS and I was like, hey, I've had amazing friends coach me, but I need someone to like boss me around because I like need a run boss. Like I need someone that like that you say I want you to do this and I say okay. And when I come with you to bat when I come with you to bat with when I come with you to you with bad ideas, I want you to shut me down. I want you to be like, "No, that's a dumb idea. You don't need
Yep.
to do that." Um because I kind of get panicky about training and I feel like I've been cramming for the exam a lot in the last couple of years
Hmm.
because life is too busy and my training is on the back burner. And so Cliff and I kind of sat down and formulated a plan in which I could put where training was going to be manageable for me with what else I had
Hmm.
going on, but it wasn't the back burner. And it could be something that I focused on and something that I really invested in and got excited about. And so we
Nice.
did that. And part of that was like, yeah, I put together like a really solid block of volume. We did a
Hmm.
mini camp where I had 3 really big days of training in a row, including running the ISI Alps 50K course here, which is like 33 miles with like
I
14K
saw
climbing.
that. Yeah.
Um,
Gnarly.
it's gnarly and so fun because it's in our backyard. Um, but yeah, I felt really confident, and it was probably the first time in a long, long time where I didn't feel where I got to the taper, and I was like, oh, I don't have to like do a panic 20 miler. Like we can kind of just like ease off the gas. Like
Hmm.
that is so exciting. And so in hindsight, like that's what I'm holding on to is
Hmm.
that like I had this really fun, really amazing training block. And while I've
Hmm.
needed to recover post what I did get done at UTCT, spoiler alert, I only got to run 73 miles of it. But while the rest has been important and the rest has been good, I'm like, I'm looking at my training plan for this next week and I'm like, okay, like it's still pretty chill, but I'm really excited to like start planning what's next. And
Hmm.
like to be excited about racing something feels very positive, and I'm excited to like training's never wasted. I feel like you and I have this
Mm-mm.
conversation with athletes all the time,
Mm.
right? Where it's like a race doesn't go to plan and it can feel like you wasted an opportunity. But I'm like, that training block wasn't wasted. Like that training block will be important to this next training block or the training block after that. And so I
Mhm.
feel really excited about being an athlete again in a lot of
Mhm.
ways, even if it's just for me, even if it's just
Mhm.
like my own little project.
Totally. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But also, like, it's cool to string together some really solid training. And then, yeah, maybe it doesn't go to plan, but you can at least appreciate the journey and then know that you're set up for whatever next race you want to do because you get to start from like after that training block, right? Instead of like beginning. So you're like starting at a really cool spot, regardless of what you decide to do, whether that's like take a down season, go for a race, whatever it is, like that fitness is still there.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah, it looked like such a solid training block. I'm stoked that you're enjoying it and like you had such good consistency and enjoyed the taper because tapering is amazing.
Yeah. It's really cool when you get to taper.
Yeah, totally. But like ultra running likes to do to us, not all races go as planned, which, really emphasizes the need to appreciate training blocks for what they are, but also like kind of sucks. We train for these big things and they don't go to as planned. So something kind of unexpected happened to you going into the race, which resulted in you kind of having to make a mental shift during the race. You want to just walk us through kind of what happened?
Yeah, like if we had recorded this podcast any earlier than this weekend, I'd probably have to like take major long breaks to like not having a coughing fit during it. So about a week before I was supposed to leave for Cape Town, Steven got sick. We just like
Mm.
brought a cold, brought like a chest cold, had
That
cold
nice
home
doctor husband is just
from work,
bringing you
and we
sickness.
we tried. Like he slept in the guest bedroom.
Uh-huh.
We went for a run like maybe 2 days into that, and like he masked in the car to
Mm,
like go on this trail run with me. Um, type of thing. Like it was like we tried. We really tried
mhm,
for me not to get sick. And probably we thought I was like maybe in the clear like that Friday. I traveled on Saturday
mm,
and I like started to get a scratchy throat. And I was like, maybe it's just something. It's not that thing. It's something
mhm,
else. But by the time I landed in Cape Town on Sunday, I was like,
mm.
ooh, yeah, I definitely have whatever Stephen had. Um, and it's funny because then I got Esther Kendall, who was traveling with me. I also got her sick
Oh
ultimately.
no.
And the only saving grace in that is that there are moments during the race where I was like kind of giving myself a hard time, being like, it's not that bad. Like I'm fine. When we landed back in Atlanta, this is a tangent. When we landed back in Atlanta from like our traveling back home from Cape Town, Esther was like deep in the illness that Stephen gave me and then I gave her. Um, and seeing how miserable she was, I was like, oh, it wasn't in my head. Like I tried to run a 100 miler with this, like with this thing that
Mhm,
I'm now watching this other person experience.
mhm,
So yeah, got sick. Tried to was patient, hydrating, tried to take really good care of myself. It's also hard because like I just traveled 20 hours.
mhm.
We're on a 10-hour time change. Like what is being sick and what is jet lag? And
Totally.
we're in the southern hemisphere. It's now summer. It's like not 40 degrees and raining. It's like 85 degrees and sunny. So just like it was really hard to decipher what was being sick and what was just like normal big long travel pre-race
Mhm,
stuff. But I also knew going into the race that like we had to be ready to troubleshoot for it. So that meant like I was like worried that my throat was going to get really painful or that eating might get hard because of like having a bunch of upper respiratory tract
mhm,
symptoms. And so we had like throat lozenges and um, extra liquid calories and some other like really soft food that I could eat at aid stations if I needed to. We could make certain aid station stops longer for me to be able to really refuel in aid with solids if I was having a hard time eating because my throat hurt.
mm,
Um, and that ended up not actually being the problem. Like my throat
mhm,
was fine. I didn't need my lozenges. But as we got into the race, breathing got really hard.
mm,
Like I had to run with like the bottom strap of my pack completely open because I couldn't
mm,
have that compression on
mhm,
my lungs. And I like going uphill was really awful because I had like this viral load that just made everything feel bad. And
mm,
so it was one of those things where it worked until it didn't. And it worked for about 50 miles.
mm.
Was right on my splits. I thought we could run 24:35, which would be a course record. Nicolette, who won, ran 24:40, which was amazing. But ultimately got pulled at mile 73 by the medical team because I was wheezing. Like I physically like was unable to take like good deep breaths.
Mm,
And they didn't feel comfortable sending me into the next 18K section, which was taking athletes on the fast end like 4 hours to do.
mhm,
And they're like, you can't be a medical emergency on Chapman Peak. And I was like, that's fair. So my day ended early, but it was kind of wild to make the mental shift ahead of time, just knowing that I was going to try to do whatever I could to move well and take extra time in places if I needed to,
mhm,
um, which might throw our plan out the window. And I even told my crew, I was like, if I'm moving well, even if it's slow, like I want to finish this thing. Like I don't want us to be out there for 48 hours, but like I was like, if I'm fine, like we'll do it type of thing. And then it went from being like moving better than expected, honestly, to really not moving well and in a way that it was unsafe for me to continue. So it was kind of this interesting, like,
mm,
my crew did everything I asked of them, in which, like, they probably got me 10-ish miles further down the trail than I thought I could get once things really got bad.
mm,
Because they're
mhm,
like, because like the aid stations aren't that far apart in that zone, which is great. And
mm,
they're not that hilly. And like going
mhm,
uphill was really what was causing problems. Um, they they really did baby me along until it became unattainable and like medical came down to make the decision.
mhm.
Um, but yeah, I asked him, I was like, I didn't want to drop. I didn't want to not finish. I really just like wanted to go and do the whole thing, even if it meant underperforming at the end of the day. But I like, again, physically was like deemed irresponsible. And then again, seeing Esther absolutely destroyed on Sunday on our return journey, deep in the illness that I had also given her, I was like, oh, yeah, like running 100 miles with this situation was a bad call. And like my cough got worse afterwards, my nose got worse afterwards. It was like a whole fun experience of my legs were fine, but I like was, coughing my way across Cape Town basically.
I'm so proud that you were able to listen to medical because that's not easy for any of us, even if it's, someone telling us we can't go on. But it does help a little bit to know that, you're seeing someone sick with what you were dealing with. You're like, there's no way I could have run with this. You have the medical tent telling you you can't go on. Obviously, that makes everything a little easier, but it's still really hard to not finish kind of what you wanted to do. So, like, how were you doing at the time mentally? And then how are you doing now mentally? Like, have there been any negative reflections, any like little mini sob fest by yourself? Like, how are you doing?
Oh yeah, I've definitely cried a little bit,
Yeah, it's
and
really
it's like
hard.
it is. It's really hard. And actually, it was like really hard because Steven feels really bad about it, too, because
Hmm.
he's like, man, it's like I feel guilty that I brought this cold home with me, and I was like, well, that happens. It's life.
Hmm.
And Esther and I joked that that meant Steven got to go on the trip with us because we brought his germs along. No, it was, jokes aside, it definitely was really disappointing and it was very frustrating um, to not get to do what I had hoped, particularly when you're like making a big long trip to do it too. Like it's not like my backyard race. Like made the time commitment to go to this place to do this thing, which is not cheap. It's not inexpensive. It's a huge investment. And so I think it's kind of those things that really weigh on you. And then you're also like, oh, was I letting anyone down? Which is, that's all like, no one is externally telling me I'm doing that, but internally you think about it a lot. And so I think initially it was all those usual disappointments that creep in and doubts that creep in. But again, as I mentioned earlier, I'm going back to the training block and just being like, wow, that was so much fun. And I like had so much confidence coming out of that training block that while I didn't get to flex the fitness I think I built and the ability I think I built through that training block, I am excited to see what that looks like down the road. And we'll just kind of keep
Hmm.
keep swinging, keep doing things that make me excited and happy.
Mm.
There's still 18K now, this stupid race course that I haven't seen, which is frustrating because I'm like, man, gotta go back to Cape Town at some
Hmm.
point.
Totally.
Um,
You're
but
like just a
it's
casual 24-hour travel day.
just another casual 24-hour travel day. Maybe I go back to do something else down there and I just go run that
Hmm.
section to run that section.
Hmm. That could
Um,
work too.
that could probably happen. I could probably make that happen. Um, but yeah, it's one of those things where it's really easy to be like, man, am I not tough enough?
Mm-hmm.
Was I unable, like, am I just like not like I used to be tough. Am I not tough enough to do this thing? It's really easy. Like that's where my doubts normally go to.
Mm-hmm.
My doubts normal like that's where I anchor in, particularly after DNF. It's like, wow, was I just not strong enough
Mm-hmm.
to fight through it? Was I not mentally tough enough to, figure out a way through? Did I give up?
Mm-hmm.
Even with medical being the people that ultimately made the call, like, I had to grapple with the idea of like, I don't think I can do this for 10
Mm-hmm.
miles before medical finally was like, you can't do this.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and just like being in those thoughts for that long also
Mm-hmm.
makes you think like, man, am I incapable of this thing?
Mm-hmm.
So that to me is the part that like gnaws at you a little bit. And then you have that moment, you like cry a bunch. And then I think you have to move forward. Not to move on, but you definitely have to move forward. And what that means for me is saying, okay, this is what I accomplished in the training block. This is what I learned in this race experience, like what worked, what didn't work, what what went well, what didn't go well outside of obviously having breathing issues and just being prepared to make those adaptations to training or to my race strategy moving forward. So, yes, incredibly disappointing, but I think you kind of just have to get back in the saddle.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't, and I'm not like forcing another race immediately by any means. But I do think you just have to be willing to get back in the saddle and try again.
Mm-hmm.
And know that that wasn't a wasted training block and that you're gonna have another opportunity to do something down the road and just to like get excited about that thing instead of dwelling on this
Mm-hmm.
thing that didn't go well, that
Yeah.
ended, in a way that was outside of my control in a lot of ways, which makes it easier. I think like it's definitely
Mm-hmm.
easier to be like, well, this is out of my control. I went in sick. I
Mm-hmm.
did what I could with the day. It didn't happen. But I do think it's important to also say like, okay, I learned a lot from this, good and bad, and I'm excited to take that into a new training block.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the mental side of that is really hard because we all find ourselves in a race at some point not wanting to keep going, and we have to like fight that desire, right? And oftentimes we can fight that desire, and then other times we can't. And most of the time, it's because something's going on that is completely out of our control that is making us not be able to fight that desire. And then sometimes it is because maybe we are weaker that day, or maybe we're overtrained that day and we don't have the mental fortitude to fight. But it's like in those cases where we're thrown a curveball and we're trying to run where a race where we can't breathe, like we have to at least acknowledge that, we that was not lack of fight on our end. But yeah, easier said than done for sure. And you get to take all the time you need to grieve that race because these are big deals to us and that's okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but
It's
like you were
unpredictable.
saying, you're like appreciating the good and the bad. Every race, even if you win versus you lose or whatever, they always have pluses and minuses. So you said the race was going pretty well up till mile 50. Like satiate those fuel nerds around the fuel nerds that listen to this podcast and all of the stat nerds and tell us like how is the pacing going? How is the fueling going? Like how were those first 50 miles in terms of execution?
Yeah, so I had Carrie Ann Marshall's splits from the year before in
Mm-hmm.
which she won. She won in like 25 and change, the second fastest time ever. Going into this race, Hillary had the fastest time in 24:55, I want to say. But looking at the course, I was like, I think we can run. I think if you're smart and you pace well and you don't
Mm-hmm.
burn matches early, and then you have legs once you get over chappies to actually run,
Mm-hmm.
I think we can run 24 and a half hours.
Nice.
Um, I think that's the fitness I've got going into this. I think people are capable of it. I think there's a
Mm-hmm.
group of women that are capable of it going into it. And so I had carry-on splits, and then I also made a pace chart with Ultra Pacer, which I love.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a cool
Yeah.
free like web service. I use it with athletes all the time as well because you can basically it will like help you back do the math from the final time. And it
Yep.
can take into account when it's dark and it can take into account an average 15% slowdown that we
Mm-hmm.
like put on a person, put on an athlete. You can add an aid station stoppage time. And so we did the math on it and figured it out. And what I noticed between Carrie Ann splits and the Ultra Pacer splits is that like she was well up on the splits for the
Mm-hmm.
longest time. And then the section at like from mile 72 onward,
Mm-hmm.
particularly going over Chapman Peak,
Mm-hmm.
that's where a lot of time was lost and it never really got recouped. Like she lost just time on that section, really, and then never recouped the time after that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, you got to get to that section in a good place. And so even early on, I wasn't that far behind like the lead group of women. I ran in like sixth
Mm-hmm.
for much of the day. I think I dropped out in like sixth or seventh.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I pulled back a little bit because being sick, I just like couldn't push in the early climbing. And I was like, you know what? I just gotta chill. Like this is it's
Mm-hmm.
really hot. We started at 5 p.m., but we were in the direct sunlight going up over Signal Hill and over to Kloofneck. And so it was really actually like quite warm for
Mm-hmm.
that whole section.
Mm-hmm.
So we were really hot really early. It was also incredibly windy during race week. And so pending like where you were on the mountain, you were just getting buffeted by gale force winds. They actually had to close down the race
Oh
village for
yeah.
much of the
Mm-hmm.
week.
I saw that.
They couldn't do awards at the race village on Sunday. They had to do them in the hotel that the athletes were staying in. So a whole lot of like we had some really
Mm-hmm.
extreme weather factors. They actually had to cancel the 35K on Sunday because the wind on the face of Table Mountain at Platiclip was so extreme that it was like
Mm-hmm.
it was deemed a safety risk.
Gotcha.
Um, they didn't want to send the 35K runners up Platiclip. And so, which is like a gorge that goes up Table Mountain for people who are unfamiliar with that terrain. It's really cool, but it would be like terrifying to be hit by a
Mm-hmm.
gale force wind on sections of it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I eased off the gas, and even easing off the gas, I was like right on the splits that I thought we needed to run to make this happen.
Mm-hmm.
And so I felt really good about that, like needed to regroup. I was really proud of myself, like for regrouping where I needed to regroup. Like got to Kloofneck and was like kind of overwhelmed. It's like a noise tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
Like everyone's out there just absolutely screaming their faces off with cowbells. It's really, really intense. It's like the top of, I'm sure, going over the top of Palisades,
Mm-hmm.
heading off into the woods for Western States. It's like going up Notre Dame de la Gorge. Like it's just like this loud noise tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
And it had been so hot for the first couple hours of the race. I was like, I just need a reset. And so like I eased off the gas going up Platiclip and I met up with this Slovakian girl named Lenka and got to talking with her. And she was just like there for a hard rock qualifier. She'd climbed Denali in the spring. Like she's really a mountain athlete who was here to get a hard rock qualifier. She's like decked out in Dina Fit. She was super nice. And there were moments once we got up to the top of Platiclip where it was now dark and foggy and windy.
Mm-hmm.
The sun has set. And there were moments running along the top of Table Mountain where I was like, like she's an incredibly strong climber, but I was like, I'm running the flats and the downhills better than her. Like I should just go ahead. And then I
Mm-hmm.
was like, you know what? Like, no, like you're not running that much faster.
Mm-hmm.
And like it's way easier to navigate in a group of people because like
Mm-hmm.
we're like
Smart.
trying to find the flags in the fog and the dark.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, and you need to regroup. You need to take time to eat right now. You need to
Mm-hmm.
take time to actually get fuel in because you can, because you've eased off the gas and you're running at a level that feels way more sustainable. It's a little bit cooler, so everything feels better. Like you need to drink, you need to eat, and you need to reset because you've got a lot of running ahead of you. This is a
Mm-hmm.
hard 100 miles. It's going to be a 24-hour day.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a full day. And so like felt really good about making that decision and not getting flustered and like pushing in a section that I wouldn't have been rewarded for at all.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And
Totally.
so felt so good about doing that. And it became Lenka and I and like a group of three or four guys, like became
Nice.
like a unit up there. We split up on the descent off of Table Mountain, which is called the ravine.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's scary during the day.
Yeah,
It is
it's
very
technical during
scary
the day. I was gonna
at
say,
night
dang, during the night.
with
Oof.
wind gusts. And so we're
Yeah.
like down climbing like rungs on rock during these
Mm-hmm.
wind gusts. So like reset I like the group ends up like kind of splitting up partway down that where like myself and another guy ended up getting ahead,
Mm-hmm.
running into Ladudno Beach. I could, and then now they allow for accompaniment starting at Ladudno for the 100 miler
Mm.
so that we have accompaniment like going up Suther Peak
Oh,
over to
nice.
Hout Bay, which can be a little bit sketch. Because you're just like running into that community and then kind of Rocket Road and running to that next zone too before we split off and go on our merry way up higher on a climb before we dive down to Simonstown.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can have accompaniment for that whole section. So I picked up a new friend named Johan, who's like
Nice.
a local bike packer and adventure, like not really an adventure racer, but like he's part of that community. He does a lot of like really long bike packing stuff, but happens to trail run. And he ended up running with me for 50K.
Nice.
which is amazing.
That's so
And so
fun.
we just moved really well. Like I told him like, hey, like I can't push on the uphills because my breathing is just like it feels too hard.
Mm.
Like we're not going to gain anything from me trying to push harder on this. I was like, but the flats and the downhills feel great. So we're just going to like roll those as comfortably as possible.
Nice.
And so that's what we did. We kind of eased off the gas and would like lose a position or two to some guys on the up every uphill. And then we would just like roll up everyone on every single downhill
Nice.
and did that, until the sun came up and it was awesome. So yeah, just like I'm really proud of myself for resetting and like recognizing when I needed to like take time to make sure I was okay.
Hmm.
And then continued that with my crew where it was like, cool, like I'm really only drinking my calories at a certain point. And so like even at La Dudna, we like started with like mashed potatoes or instant ramen and my stomach was great the whole time.
Nice.
And so like did a really good job of like leaning into and getting um like bulking up those calories at those aid stations and then I like which helped my stomach feel full and then would be on like never second liquid calories
Hmm.
and scratch in
Nice.
between. And I would even carry, we would generally hit like a water stop between the Curveballs aid stations
Mm.
for the 100-mile course. And so I would bring like packets of powder with
Nice.
me so that when I would get to those water stops, I was refilling with my same,
Nice. Hmm.
I would have 30 to 60 grams of carbs in a bottle, for example, of Never Second. And that was super easy for me to get down, but then to feel more satiated when I got to crew, I would like take an extra minute to like put down some instant noodles or to put down a bunch of mashed potatoes, and that was really comfortable. So yeah, I feel very good about making the decisions I did in that regard. And then yeah, it was probably somewhere after mile 50 where it was like noticeably harder to breathe on like more gradual uphills. And that just kind of led to my whole body feeling really
Hmm.
off. Like my quads started getting really wonky, and I've never had my like quads come apart. Like not cramping. I've had plenty of cramping in races, but just to like you get that viral like inflammation basically.
Hmm.
And like my quads like came apart super early, and we just like rolled with it the best we could until it would roll no longer.
Hmm. Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, nice. And so from a fueling perspective, you were crushing it, sounds like, for
Yeah,
the
I
most
feel
part.
actually pretty good about it. Like I think I probably should have doubled up some bottles. Like as in like should have like you can load the Never Second in
Hmm.
particular
Yeah.
a lot higher. Like it works with the like with the like osmolality a little bit there. So I think I should have like started to push those bottles a little bit harder, i.e. like adjusted with my crew to mix those from 30 grams, for
Oh,
example,
yeah.
to 45 or 60 grams just to
Mhm.
like have a little bit more buffer periodically, but I think otherwise did a really good job of staying on top of things, even without having to be like on a timer. I'd be like, I'm gonna drink this bottle, and then I'm gonna like have this snack, and then I'm gonna drink this bottle, and then we're gonna
Mhm.
repeat that cycle.
Nice, nice, nice. Yeah. Yeah, that part's like tricky, especially with the night start. Is always like a interesting dimension to add into training and racing is like, what do you do with like a night start, you know?
Yeah.
I've always felt so off with night starts. I remember I did Lavarito, which starts at like 9 p.m. and thought it was kind of warm. So I started in like a tank top, and then your body just like doesn't know how to regulate because it's 3 a.m. and it's cold. And so you have all these weird variables. So like how was I know you got a pacer for some of the night start, which is amazing. But like how was that part for you?
I feel like I got pretty lucky in that regard. And I was even reflecting with people out there on the race course. I was like, you know what? I think we had the better start time because the 100K started at 4 a.m.
Right. Oof.
And
Yep.
I was like, they were up at 2 a.m. for breakfast. Like they didn't sleep. Like I slept the night before, like a
Mhm.
baby, and then like tried to lay down for a nap, which would have been awesome if I could have napped. Did not successfully nap at all. Um, but felt pretty good about like how I rolled into the 5 p.m. start. Like that felt really comfy to me. The 5 p.m. start feels a lot better, I think, than like the 11 p.m., the midnight
Mhm.
start.
Totally.
Um, and so I didn't get sleepy, which is amazing. We had a good caffeine strategy as well to kind of keep me topped off a lot going into the early morning hours because I worry about like the 3 to 5 a.m. in particular, but it felt like I timed my food intake during the day pretty well as like to get like simple carbohydrates in kind of for that like late breakfast and then like that late lunch slash early dinner. And that seemed to sit really well. So I feel very fortunate that it's like not that dissimilar from what I train on
Hmm.
at home. I'm like, I can do udon noodles and then go for a run. That's
Totally.
that's
Yeah.
really
Oatmeal
chill.
and a run every day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
But
Yeah.
I just like repeated what I'm used to doing in that regard, and I think that worked really well.
That's really smart. Yeah. Never do anything new on race day.
Yeah, it's hard when
That's
you're in a foreign
all
country though.
that
You're like,
is,
oh,
but it
I didn't
totally
bring,
is. Yeah.
I didn't bring this thing or whatever. But
Mm.
I think I executed on that really well. And ultimately, I didn't have like the sleepies, didn't have any of that. Though I will say once medical pulled me and I stopped running, it's really normal for my blood pressure to get really funky after running for that long. Um, and so I get really nauseous feeling and I'm like, ooh, I need to lay down. Otherwise, I'm gonna pass out.
Mm.
It's like, I don't know, you see it all the time after a 100 mile. Like women finish and then all of a sudden they like are on the ground and like medical freaks out and they like rush them to the hospital. And it's like, no, like all their blood's in their legs and they stopped moving. Like their body needs to reach equilibrium and it's going to want to lay them down. The vasovagal, basically. And so I was like, I'm going to vomit if I don't lay down. And so, and it was like 20 minutes after I'd met with medical and I immediately fell asleep on the cot. So it's
Oh.
like, I didn't feel sleepy. I was horizontal for all of 90 seconds before falling asleep.
Totally. I mean, you had another thing at play too, even like on top of the whole run was just like you're sick. So your body's like, can I just go to sleep,
Yeah,
please?
can we just take a nap? That would be great.
Yeah. Speaking of like other parts of the training, obviously you're from the Pacific Northwest like me. It's been pretty cold and rainy here. Did you do any heat training for this race? Just because it's obviously way different climate.
The climbing gym down the street from me that has our sauna,
Mm.
in both the locker rooms there, I'm pretty sure they think I live in the parking lot because I was like showing up every day in like the same outfit and I like wasn't working out. I was just like checking in, grabbing two towels, going to the locker room,
Mm.
sauna, like, and then coming out showered, 40 minutes later.
Hmm.
And so I was like, they must think I like live in the parking lot.
Hmm.
Um, and so I didn't do any like overdressing or like layered up on
Hmm.
the bike trainer.
Smart.
I'm very much like minimum effective dose,
Yeah.
like passive heat, like that's kind of my jam. And so did a fairly typical like sauna protocol, i.e. like generally tried to go in after training. It didn't always work with my schedule, but yeah, had a pretty typical sauna block going in because yeah, I wanted to be prepared for the southern hemisphere and it is wild. It's like pretty cold at home right now. Like there was frost on the ground this morning and I like feel like a baby in my like down jacket and gloves and hat.
Oh yeah,
Um
always.
Fully winter right now.
Uh-huh. It's sleeping bag coat season if you have one of those.
Yes,
So it is cold.
exactly.
Below
And it's
50, it's
yeah.
like, nope, no thanks. That's
Yeah.
cold.
But it was hot. It was like 85 on race day.
Nice.
The wind helped in a weird way sometimes, but also was very drying when you were like in a headwind.
Hmm.
But yeah, we had a pretty prototypical warm UTCT from a weather perspective, and you definitely felt that at the start, and then we definitely were feeling that kind of starting late morning on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
So happy that my sauna training, I think, was relatively effective.
Nice. Yeah. It looked like you guys had fun kind of after the race too. You didn't come straight home, which is awesome. But how was your recovery? Like, were you able to actually enjoy it? Did you get some good food back in after not feeling nauseous anymore? Like, how did that all go?
Yeah, we planned a couple days of wine tasting after the
Nice.
race. So Esther came over, ran the 16K, and then crewed and paced me, along with one other local, Carrie B, who
Oh
is like
yeah.
our crew chief. So I have to give her a shout out. She like works for runs a gin distillery, and she's like, "Oh, I've got the perfect van to crew out of," and I was like, "Okay." And then she showed up in like a legit box truck like to move like that you'd like move supplies in. So they had the box truck that they drove around, the delivery truck that they drove around the course. But yeah, we planned a bunch of wine in and had great recommendations from a bunch of the locals. And so we did a little bit Sunday after going to the botanical garden, and then we did 2 days in Stellenbosch. So like Stellenbosch and Franschhoek, which is like the
Mm.
wine country.
Nice.
So a lot of sitting and tasting wine is maybe not ideal for recovery as a professional athlete, but it was perfect. It was really, it was hot, and you just like got to go drink like bubbles and good whites and rosés and reds and eat cheese and um, cheese and wine feels like pretty good post ultra recovery for me.
Nice. That sounds amazing. Yeah, I feel like getting to spend some time there afterwards would be so nice. You've traveled so far, like you need to be able to appreciate the journey there too, just because like racing is a little bit of like is a little stressful. So being able to unwind afterwards and experience the place without the like looming of the race on your head is really nice.
Yeah, and the food scene is amazing there. So it was like, ooh,
So good.
let me get another fancy breakfast. It was like
Yeah,
every
totally.
day was amazing food and it was really hard to go wrong. And so, yeah, was I felt very spoiled that we got to kind of do the dining and wine experience for a
Hmm.
couple days before traveling home.
Totally. Yeah. Well, I make all my athletes like wait 2 weeks before they're allowed to sign up for anything. So you still have another week to wait.
I
But
do.
like, do you have any inklings towards what you want your 2026 to look like or anything that makes you excited right now? I know obviously you're like loving the training. So wondering if you're thinking anything about 2026.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure that out. I really want to like race probably something in March, I
Mm.
think. I'm gonna talk to my coach this next week and just like debrief the race and debrief the training block a little bit more and kind of like ruminate together on what sounds good and sounds exciting.
Hmm.
I'm kind of torn. Like, do I want to go to a UT like a UTMB series race and get a qualifier in? Do I want to like what do I want to do? Do I want to go around the Big Alta 100K? Because that sounds really
Looks
fun.
really cool.
And
Yeah.
I feel like I'll have a bunch of friends running it and friends
Mm.
there, and it's easy travel. Do I want to run Chuckanut, which sign up is like this next week, I think. So it's one of those things where I don't really know what it's gonna look like, but I'm excited to start to plan it and figure that out. And so I need to like spend some time looking at the calendar and looking at what's available to me. And I think I mostly know my work schedule for the year from like a media and Hoka perspective. And so
Nice.
now it's filling in the blanks and making sure that I prioritize getting to race ahead of those weeks that are super exhausting, like Western States or UTMB, for example.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
excited to mix and match. I think some like bigger races with some smaller kind of local stuff
Mm. That'll be fun.
and
Yeah.
cheer you on at Western States, obviously.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, the local races are so fun. I feel like had that thought lately too, is that it's really fun to like gear up for these ginormous races, but it's also really cool to just, sorry, that was my dog. It's also really cool to have like shorter, smaller local races to do as well. And by shorter, I mean like maybe even less than 50K, we don't have to all be
Totally.
savages all the time.
Yeah, we don't have to be sending it
Like,
for 100Ks constantly. But I will say, did
yeah.
you see that Gorge has like a huge prize purse this year?
I've been considering doing maybe like the 50K or something there too, just because of the prize purse, really.
Yeah, I want to understand like what the breakdown is because I know ACG and
Yeah.
Nike put up
Hmm.
75K, but is it split between like all three
All
races? Is it
three.
split
Yeah.
between the 50K and the 100K? Is it just the 100K? Like,
Hmm.
who's getting the payday? Because someone's gonna get a good payday.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it'll be cool to see where that goes because it's very intriguing. It's like one of those races where I always swear that I don't want to do it because it's like where I train
Hmm.
and like I don't want to mix those things sometimes, but it's also fun to race there because you're like, I know these trails so well.
Yeah, and it's easy. It's like you get to sleep in your own
Hmm.
bed. Like,
Totally.
there's something really special about not having to do a big long travel to make it happen. I
Hmm.
want to race up in Vancouver, like putting in for the
Totally.
Knacker lottery or doing Squamish would be really
Hmm.
fun. So trying to figure out
Yeah.
some of those things would be kind of what I'm wrapping my brain around right now.
Hmm.
But again, super excited to train, super excited for training to not be on the back burner and be something that I'm doing, that I'm prioritizing in my day. Like that to me has been like I want more of that. I'm excited to do some different training too, because I feel like going into this, I had told my coach, I was like, I feel really fit to run a hard 100 miles. But if you put a gun to my head and told me to run a fast 5K right now, like I don't think I could do it. And
Hmm.
so it's like I had a very specific fitness going into this, and that's what we geared training towards was for this very specific task. It's not like a 12-month block where I have gotten to do a bunch of speed work.
Hmm.
So I'm actually very curious to see what the next little bit of time looks like. Like I'm excited to get back into the gym because I haven't been in the gym for a hot sec. I'm excited to maybe do some faster running, whatever that looks like. And so I do think it's like my brain is on 100K, 100 mile mode, but it's like, yeah, maybe that next thing that I need to be signed up for is a 30K or is a 50K because I do
Hmm.
think that I haven't really worked on that speed in a
Yeah.
second, particularly not while I've been like mentally engaged in my own training.
Right. 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 Yeah. Not treating it just as like kind of a fun run or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And those build a lot of skill too, because
Yeah.
those are very uncomfortable.
Maybe I'll go do the 50K at Big Alta and get my butt
There we go.
absolutely
That's
handed
what
to
I
me.
did to kick my season off last year, and I couldn't walk for a week really well.
Yeah,
So
exactly. That's what I want. I'm craving the
yeah.
total destruction. So we'll see. I guess if anyone listening has any great race ideas, shoot them our way. Sounds like I'm completely open to running just about anything right now, which is
Yeah.
not far from the truth. So let us
Yeah.
know what you're thinking.
Yeah, and I'm definitely on the like shorter distance build this year in my mind. Like I just think last year, even if my year this year is going to be a little more chill, I still think last year was like maybe a little much. So I'm like, I think if I just go back to my roots and like don't need to race like all these really long things, specifically just like 100K before a 100 mile, I don't think I'm going to if I don't have
Yeah,
to.
build some fitness in a different way. I
hmm
feel like Hayden's done a good job of that, where it's like
Yeah.
I'm doing a 50K focus,
Yeah.
like bringing that into Western states. And I think that could
Mhm.
be really good.
Yeah, I've done it before. It's ended in, a big injury, but didn't end in me having bad fitness for states. So it's kind of like I know it works. It can
Yeah.
work.
Ugh, I'm excited for us.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Yeah, and luckily, like the cold weather will be changing soon enough. Like we're only a couple weeks from the time where it's the shortest day of the year, so
Yay.
thank goodness. But if you're feeling a little down, one thing that can make you feel really excited is like new training gear because that's the best thing ever to get in the mail. So if you haven't gotten your like snowy, wintry vibed rabbit gear yet, head over to runningrabbit.com now and use the code Hoppy Holidays. Again, super punny, amazing code Hoppy Holidays, Hoppy as in HOPPY, for 10% off through the month of December.
Yeah, and before you know it, our next gear drop, i.e., our
Yay.
next Trail Society specific beautiful prints will be coming out. So we'll let you know what the actual drop day is for that because I think it'll be a little earlier this year, which is very exciting.
Yeah, so stay tuned. So get through the winter season, then spring will be here soon enough, and you'll have new flower print, beautiful colors to put on for your springtime racing.
We can't wait. Okay, let's slam. Do you want
Yeah,
to go first? You want me to
slam
go
it.
first?
I'll read it, sure.
Cool.
This one's a question. I think you'll probably have some good insight on this. I'm wondering if you could give advice on your favorite ultralight, lightweight, waterproof jacket.
I do have an opinion on this. And it is any company that is using the Gore-Tex, like the brand, like the Gore-Tex, like the name of the material, Gore-Tex Shake Dry.
Mm,
Anyone that is using Gore-Tex Shake Dry,
cool.
and a lot of the major brands do.
Mm,
Like our Adidas Terrex jackets were that. I'm pretty sure my Hoka jacket is that, and it's just like a super lightweight quality material
mm,
that is then sewn into like is then turned into
nice.
whatever brand's jacket. And so I have had a lot of really good experience with that material being effective
hmm
and being making for a really great jacket living in this incredibly wet climate versus brands trying to create their own materials.
Yeah.
That'd be my personal preference is any brand that is using Gore-Tex Shake Dry.
hmm
That's what I want to be in.
Yeah. And most brands now have a tape sealed version of that. So just like make sure you read that on the reviews. But like the Gore-Tex Shake Dry and just Gore-Tex product in general will meet like the requirements for UTMB races. So like if you find that, you'll be good.
Yeah, because that's
Yeah.
you want that all your seams to be sealed,
hmm
so that you're not getting any moisture in there in any regard. And that's going to be your lightest weight stuff. And then it's always worth having a slightly heavier jacket if you're doing something super
Yeah.
extreme. Like
Yeah.
this year at
Like
UTMB, everyone was in
mhm,
like shells, like almost like
totally.
alpine skiing shells because they
Mhm.
needed that heavier
Yeah.
Gore-Tex material.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it can be a whole thing. Okay. Our next slam came in, and again, this is in reference to the ultramarathoner and pregnancy case study that was published by Margie Davenport and team. And so again, and that runner in that case study ran really high volumes through two pregnancies, including a pregnancy with twins and then a single pregnancy. And it kind of speaks to this like idea that there's a lot of nuance and everyone's an individual. But the listener wrote in and said, "I wish I could do this. I ran a marathon at 4 weeks pregnant. Now I'm 13 weeks and having to walk run. My heart rate just shoots up to 180 at my normal easy pace. I'm running 1 minute per mile slower." And I can just to keep my heart rate around 145, 150, and there's no hills. This is kind of like laughing about this. One of my friends is still running half marathons at 7 months, but on the whole, movement is a win. I'm hoping to strain my body. I'm hoping the strain my body is under for these 9 months will pay off for training postpartum when suddenly my heart is used to pumping all of that blood. And so I feel for this athlete. Everyone's pregnancy experience is so different when it comes to what feels good, how your ligaments and bones are feeling, how your
Hmm.
cardiovascular system in this case is feeling with an ability to
Yeah.
pump blood. Your heart is still actually at this phase two, like really actively trying to make those changes. Like you're going through
Hmm.
so many of the big like metabolic changes right now that you might actually find, later in your pregnancy, post 21, post 22 weeks, that maybe that
Hmm.
actually your body has adjusted and you can run more comfortably cardiovascularly, even though
Hmm.
biomechanically it might feel different at that point. So it's again like everyone's an individual and everyone's really different. But I love this mentality of like my body is getting stronger in this cardio, like this cardiac stress test of pregnancy. And I'm excited to see, you know, what my body will be capable of as I return to run postpartum as well.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I loved this note. I think it's just a good reminder that while we are always seeing research come out that's promoting exercising during pregnancy, it's good to just acknowledge that that looks different for everybody. It's like, yeah, we've gotten past the phase of exercise is dangerous in pregnancy, but that doesn't mean everybody has to run an ultramarathon during the pregnancy. That means it looks different for everybody. And if you're the kind of person that it feels horrible all the time, then maybe your pregnancy is where you actually don't exercise much, and that's totally fine.
Yeah, you're also in the phase where like a lot of my friends I feel like are ghosts, are shells of themselves through like 15 weeks and then they, their energy gets a little bit better. They kind of move into those like the golden trimester of having energy back but not having such an orb of a stomach yet where they still feel really comfy moving. So,
Hmm.
constantly impressed with everyone out there who is yeah, continuing to stay active during their pregnancies. But you're right. I'm so happy that we've moved past the like, are you sure you should be doing that phase to
Hmm.
like really actively encouraging women to stay super active during pregnancy to whatever feels good for them.
Hmm.
I love it. Well, thank you all for bearing with my long UTCT recap. But if you have any questions about it, if you have dealt with your own DNF in your control, out of your control, whatever it is, slide into our DMs and let us know how you've dealt with it, how you've recovered from it, what you struggled with maybe
Hmm.
in that post DNF did not finish period. Because it's a super hard experience no matter how it happens. So slide into our DMs, let us know how that went for you and how you've been coping with it, and then maybe we'll tap into some more of that in a future episode. But until then, we'll catch you out on the trails.